Whoa, hey everybody, good evening. Welcome to the MSU Denver Music Composition live stream. My name is David Farrell. I'm an assistant professor of music at Metropolitan State University of Denver, and I'm the coordinator of music composition there. And tonight we are broadcasting from Denver with some of the music that we've been making this fall semester in 2020 in the composition area. And so if you look down below in the stream information, you can see the program for tonight's concert. We've got a whole bunch of pieces written by student composers, performed by a mix of students and faculty tonight. And we'll be talking about all of those and sharing all of those with you. We've got a bunch of composers in the chat saying silly things, so feel free to say hi to everybody there. I am running the show, so if you're chatting at me, I will probably not be responding very much to you, although you never know. We'll see what happens. And so we've got a really wonderful program tonight. Thank you for joining us, everybody out there. I'm starting the program by sharing some of the music that I made tonight. As the composition coordinator here, I like to sort of be able to share my music with my students and with our university community. A lot of the music that my artistic energy is focused on uses interactive electronics. And for the most part, I'm really interested in physical interaction. But in 2020, making works for anything physical is very difficult. And so I've been doing some things that are a little bit more computer focused in a lot of my work. And the work I want to share tonight is a work for live electronics. Live means I'm going to be performing it live. You're going to be watching me perform it and hearing the sounds as I make it. It's a work called Loneliness. It's a work that I wrote in the past month or two. It has to do with 2020 and how difficult 2020 is in that sense of silence, that sense of sort of being by oneself. The work is built around a single sample of human breath. The human breath, I think, both something that we're sort of that is with us, a sound that's with us even when we're alone, but also a sound that we can really miss if we're not around those other people. I do a lot of different transformations to that human breath, transposing the sounds of it, stretching the pitches of it, mixing with other sort of synthesized sounds. And so that's where our performance is going to start tonight. And so I will load it up for you with my work, Loneliness. Thanks a lot. That's my work of loneliness. Hopefully my computer wasn't too taxed by streaming it out to all of you. I'm going to take a quick pause here, and we'll just be back in a couple seconds with our first student composer to talk about the upcoming student works. Hey, I am joined with Alex Artyomenko from our composition program. And Alex, you've got the first work on the program tonight. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what they're going to hear from you?
Hi, Dr. Farrell, and thank you. What a wonderful piece you had. I'm going to be playing, my piece, Tragic Journey. I had the honor of playing with Payton, who actually played the piece. I wrote it, and he did an amazing job. I sent him the score first time, and within 2 weeks, he sent me all the tracks back, 3 separate tracks on saxophone, and they were super clean, really easy to put together. And yeah, so for the piece, I was kind of going for more of a funk-like feel at the beginning, but then I was told that sounds more like video game music, like you're starting in an NPC village. So I decided to run with that idea instead. So some catch up with my stank became Tragic Journey, and you'll be able to see in the score where I have like different ideas of atmospheres and like environments that you'd be in, like if you were in a video game. And I have like a section with Funky Forest, and the baritone sax really just sets up the whole vibe there. And the ending is pretty funny with a little joke at the end. So yeah, cool. I hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah, that's great. And Alex kind of alluded to this, but I guess since we're the first ones, Alex, we get to explain to everybody that this is a concert for multi-track performances. Because it's 2020, it's really hard to sort of get a bunch of people in one room and rehearse together. Mm-hmm. And so can you maybe just give them the basic pitch of like how you wrote this and put it together technically that way?
Well, I figured that if I had a click track, it'd be very easy to add some hockety sections. So I was more comfortable with adding a little more density within the music. And just creating the click track was very easy, just taking every single quarter note of every single beat and just putting a drum to it. So it was very easy to construct, and yeah, it was great.
So you wrote this piece for one person, but they're playing like multiple parts at once, which is why they needed this click track, right? Like Riley recorded all the different saxophones. So we're going to hear many saxophones, but it's one performer, that's kind of how all the works that we're going to be hearing from here on out are all for one performer doing lots of things. So that's kind of our way of getting around 2020 things. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing, Alex. We're going to pull up your work right here, Tragic Journey. Wow, that was a great start. And we're going to keep the program rolling. We're going to bring in our next student composer, Bryce Lockwood, to talk about his work, Non-Tertian Serenity.
Hi, Dr.
Bryce.
Hi. This work, the Non-Tertian Serenity, what my goal was since it had it's based off of a 12-tone row, and that's for like when writing sort of atonal music to have it where all the different notes have a pattern that they go through all 12 notes of the chromatic scale. And I did it all based off of fifths and fourths, so it has a very open feel to it, and it also has quartal and quintal harmonies on the bottom, so it has more of that open feel overall. So I hope you enjoy Non-Tertian Serenity.
That's great. We'll be putting up the video for you for Non-Tertian Serenity. That was Non-Tertian Serenity, Bryce Lockwood. I feel a little bit like a radio DJ when I come back from that one. But we're going to keep our program moving right along, and I'm going to bring in our next student composer, Autumn Schmidt.
Thank you.
It wouldn't be 2020 if there wasn't people muted or like people talking over each other. So
yeah, that's true. My piece is titled Sunrise Over Camelot, and it was played by our own Professor Hengst. And he did an absolutely amazing job with it. And there's a reason he's a professor. He did amazing. So my piece is through composed, which means you're not going to hear any parts come back or be repeated. So just like the sunrise, it starts off low and slow, very long notes. And then as it gets higher, the sun gets higher in the sky, the rhythms become faster and the harmonies become a lot more fun. And then at the very end, we get some really bright and brilliant notes as the sun is now fully high in the sky over Camelot. And as most people who know me know, King Arthur is one of my favorite stories ever. So, of course, it had to do something with Camelot. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the piece.
Awesome. Great. Well, let's share it with everybody. Hi, we're back, and I am going to be joined next by another of our excellent student composers, Kalin Peña. Hi, Kalin.
Hi. Wow.
I've got a little audio. You sound a little glitchy to my audio again, Kalin. Again, 2020 live. Maybe we can run your piece, and then maybe we can reconnect, and you can talk about it afterwards. Does that sound like a good plan? Cool. So we will play our next work, which is by Kalin Peña. From Embers into Ash is the work. We'll watch the video, and then we'll get some feedback from Kalin after it. All right.
Then you rise, and still you rise. The fires burn, and still you rise. Rise, Phoenix, rise, rise, Phoenix, rise. Rise, time turns your embers to ashes, ashes, as disaster and tragedy threaten future's history, and your soul keeps burning. Can you make it through these desperate times? To come together, rise, Phoenix, rise, rise, Phoenix, rise. Will you rise?
Hi, Kalin.
Hi, how's this sound?
We're still a little bit glitchy, but let's just talk. We'll just talk anyways. They can kind of figure out what you're saying.
All right, I'll just talk through the tunnel here then. So yeah, I was really privileged to work with Bryan for this piece. I wanted to hear his voice in harmony with himself, Bryan ×4. And the collaboration process is always interesting. We're trying to figure out what the performer is well suited for, and as you heard, suited for quite a lot. So I was really excited, and thank you, Bryan, for your time and excellent work here. As far as the piece, there's no question that experiences of 2020 have influenced our composing. I'm no exception. So that said, this piece was rooted in an idea more timeless. I've always been fascinated with how people, whether as individuals or as cultures, as societies, have endured tragic chapters only to recover, sometimes returning stronger or healthier than before. So maybe my piece is written to and about myself, maybe to others who faced insurmountable trials, or maybe to the idea that we as a civilization have endured disasters that threatened our existence, but somehow the human spirit has endured. So maybe just a little glimmer of optimism here, and I hope you all enjoyed the piece.
Yeah, that's amazing. Certainly something we all need. Thank you, Kalin. We have a couple more works by student composers, and so I'm going to go right to our next student composer and invite them into the broadcast studio here to share some of their ideas, and that is going to be Jeff Banninger. Hi.
Hello.
Jeff, hello. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So First off, I'll start by saying like it was a really great experience getting to collaborate with a performer. We did something similar last semester, and I love getting to like work on a piece with somebody else, and we can kind of incorporate their ideas and just like create the piece together as opposed to me just like writing it for somebody else to play. So that's really awesome. This piece, it's called Sakura Garden, and it's kind of inspired. I play a lot of video games, and so it's kind of inspired by like an open world video game. Like you start and you spawn in and you just see like a vast landscape in front of you, and so you don't really know like where to go. You're just like, oh, look at all this beautiful scenery. I get to see all this stuff, and like I can explore all of it. And so that's the idea of this piece, is just like very open and very vast, and getting to like sort of explore and do whatever you want and like just enjoy the scenery.
That's a beautiful description. Thanks so much. Let's check out Jeff's piece. And that was music by one of our composition students, Jeff Banninger, performed by another student at MSU Denver, Karlotta Davis. And Karlotta's out there in the chat. Hi, Karlotta. Really, really lovely piece. We're going to move to another of our student composers, and this is somebody that we've already heard perform this evening, and now we get to hear him talk about his own music. And so I'm going to bring Bryan Lastrella in. Hi, Bryan.
Hey. So Kalin and I both had each other. So I performed for Kalin, and Kalin performed for me, which made things a lot easier than maybe some of the other people. But
Why
yeah.
was it easier?
Well, so this is the first time I've ever done like a remote project like this. So just trying to compose everything, it made
You've
it
never written
easier.
music during a global pandemic before?
No, honestly, I can't say that I have, but there's a first for everying.
Okay.
So, got to expand out and try new things, working in a global pandemic. And so it made it easier because since I was working with Kalin to get his recordings in, and he was working with me, Kalin was also working with me. They were also working with me to get their pieces in. It made it easier to be able to um, collaborate and be able to compose for what we knew of each other and everything. It just made the collaboration process a little bit easier. And I hope I did a great job with Kalin's piece. I think that Kalin did a fantastic job with my piece, Footsteps in the Dark. So
Can you tell everybody about what they're about to hear that Kalin performed that you wrote?
Yeah, so it's kind of a piece that represents the trepidations we face confronted with the unknown, footsteps in the dark. Whenever you're walking in the dark like that, I use some like repeating themes with slight variations as a way to create like a uniformity similar to the uniformity of darkness, but give that momentum by having these rising and falling lines in the individual voices that are mirrored on the larger structural scale. Because it starts off thin and ends thin in the A sections, and then the middle, the B section, is a bit more active. So it's about rising and falling, that rising and falling action.
Fantastic. Well, let's let everybody share it. This is coming up, Bryan Lastrella's Footsteps in the Dark. We have one more piece to share with you this evening. And before we jump to it, I just want to say thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming and listening to the music that we made. I'm really proud of all our student composers who, have been living under the same dire circumstances that we've all been dealing with the past couple months, and to persevere and to put together a piece of music in a way they've never done before, and to work with musicians remotely, and to try to sort of balance all these things and deal with me sending them emails like every 2 weeks saying like, are you still doing this thing? Are you keeping track? They've done a really fantastic job. And so, I just want to say that publicly. Great work. I think they did really great work, and I'm super happy that we're all getting to share this music with you. And we're going to share one last work with you tonight. And so I am going to bring our last student composer of the evening, Caden Hirsch, into the studio for us. Hi, Caden.
Howdy.
How are you doing this evening?
Doing well. Is my audio sound okay?
Yeah, you sound great. Yeah.
Cool.
Can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to hear and what your collaboration was like?
Sure. Well, as far as the collaboration goes, I mean, what can be said that hasn't been said by everybody else? It's always a wonderful experience to work with other students, fellow students, who are just fantastic musicians. And Kimean is no exception to fantastic musicians. So what was really just cool about working with Kimean and working on this piece was just kind of thinking, what are the boundaries and how can I push those boundaries as far as her personal ability, and just kind of the rhythmic and harmonic and melodic components of a piece. So this piece is A Winter Night, and it's just based on a poem, which is the dominant of the text. And it's just a poem about the environment of being in winter. And there's some slow and some fast and a lot of chaos really. And so hopefully you'll just hear a little bit of what the winter feels like, whether it's a little bit more peaceful or a little bit more chaotic and stormy.
Did Kimean make you rewrite any of this because it was too hard?
I don't think she did.
Of course not. Yeah,
one of the things that
she just said, I'll learn it. It's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the things that I said when I first sent her the beginning sketch, or at least the more filled out sketch before we got to the final one, I said, let me know if anything sounds ridiculous or difficult. And I think there were a couple things that I shifted, but that was because of what we talked about rather than what she talked about. So yeah, it's fantastic to work with musicians that are like that. But I honestly couldn't be happier with how this turned out. So
awesome. Well, let's take a listen to our last work of the evening by Caden Hirsch with Kimean Stucki.
The winter
That's the end of our music for the evening. Thanks so much for joining us in the MSU Denver music composition area for our live stream recital. Really appreciate being able to share our music with you all. Have a lovely evening, and hope we all get to do this in person again soon. Thanks.